Good morning, folks. Welcome to my new daily vlog. Hopefully I can keep it up on a daily basis. It is just after 6 a.m. here. I'm up and drinking my coffee, choking on my coffee while my kids sleep. And today my project is I have our recycling here, my big bag of recycling that hasn't been returned yet. And I'm actually kind of sad. I just returned three bags, but I think, you know, we've been guzzling bottles, unfortunately, because it took a while for my distiller to get here. You know, everything is slowing down, but I do have the distiller now. So we've been slowing down our usage. However, we have a ton of these, and I didn't want to spend any extra money right now, but I thought it was really important to start a garden, right? So let's see. Can you hear it? Noisy. My kids are going to wake up. What I'm doing right now is essentially cutting the bottom off, just like this, right? I'm going to do this to all of these in here. And then when the sun comes up, because it's not up yet, I'm going to go outside and we're going to fill them with dirt, you know, just to here, because I have some potting soil. And we're going to start our string beans and sweet peas to grow against my fence. We tried this year before last, but we have a lot of lizards out here. And while we love the lizards that come to munch on our garden, they have a tendency when we plant the seeds in the ground, they love the fresh little buds and leaves, which is fine once you have, once the plants are a little bit established. They can come and they can munch on those leaves, and that you will still get tons and tons of string beans, and I can have my coffee outside and watch the little lizards. But if you don't have them established first in something before you plant it, the lizards just decimate things. So I thought it would be a great idea to start that this morning. Some of these are gonna have to be opened back up. That's my first project in this homesteading adventure. You know, I hate to sound alarmist, and I hate for my daily vlogs to start on any kind of a negative note. My hope here is to really kind of inspire people to get creative, to get motivated, to use their time in self-isolation as positively as they can. They will be very rough cuts because I don't really want to spend a lot of time in editing right now, because a lot of my time is spent on the garden, on the house, getting everything managed, and really trying to, I keep trying to prep for when we get sick, because we are in a remote community, and I'm taking every step that I can realistically take, you know, going out in public as rarely as I can. You know, I'm trying to keep my shopping at once a week and really trying to compartmentalize my behaviors. So, you know, wearing gloves in the grocery store, pulling those off, being very mindful, obviously, but they're telling us about not touching our face, washing our hands and changing our clothes when we come inside. But I feel like it really is just an eventuality at this point. Maybe containment efforts will work. Fingers crossed, you know. Our economy is taking a massive hit in this effort, but I think a lot of it is necessary right now, and I think at least for the next 2 to 3 weeks, we really need to just kind of bear with it and see where the spread goes. But I wanted to take that time in the morning to be as productive as possible and share my projects, because I'm hoping to move forward in some very specific ways in my consciousness. And I would like to try and encourage as many people as possible to do as much as they can. And so that's my little effort. That's my little spiel today. So what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing to keep yourselves busy and not just fall into that Netflix hole that we all enjoy so much, but I really don't think is serving us during this time? I know it's not serving me. I will attach the video of my garden that I put on Twitter to this video, to this vlog. It's brand new. I just started it day before yesterday. some jalapenos, a couple tomatoes. I need to get another planter for that jalapeno. We're starting our herb garden here. This eventually, like this week, I'm gonna put slats in there and cover the front, and we're actually gonna grow mushrooms in this thing right here. So here we have cilantro, but I had to put it in seeded, and then I rescued a little piece of lavender from the front of my garden. And then those two boxes are going to be lettuce. We have our potatoes sliced and drying. We're going to plant those day after tomorrow. But I also wanted to do a little canning with you guys. That will probably come in a little bit, because at this point we won't have anything from the garden to can, but I might use some store-bought produce and can a few things, do a few preserves. I know I've done apple butter in the past, but I'm thinking of doing something with a little less sugar. I don't know. I was thinking of pickling a few things. I thought that might be exciting. So let me know in the comments some things that you guys might be interested in doing. This is all kind of brand new. A little bit of background, you know, maybe to add on to today's vlog. For me, in high school, I did live on, I don't know if I'd quite call it a working farm, but a working homestead with my parents. We had 5 acres, and we did pigs and we did chickens, and we had what I would call like a kale yard, where my mom grew things like corn and tomatoes and peppers and root vegetables, onions, garlic, carrots, turnips, things like that. So a significant amount of our produce came from that small plot, or my aunt and uncle's garden that grew a lot of melons and greens and things like that. Theirs was a lot more productive, but we did a lot of animal husbandry. So that's what I'm mostly familiar with. I'm considering getting chickens, even though I'm in the city, because I'm in such a rural area. Even here in the city, you can have, I think it's up to 6 chickens per household. So I'm considering that, but I have to take into account the sanitation of my area, because I have a front yard area where they can, you know, kind of safely graze if, you know, and get bugs and things like that. But bringing them back into my enclosed area in the evenings, right now I'm lacking a coop. So I have concerns about them being right there up against our food garden. I need to research how to kind of keep them contained, how to build a coop, like some kind of, you know, enclosure for them when they're in that area, so that I can keep them and their droppings separate from our food and the areas that we're walking while we garden, because I know salmonella can be an issue even with chickens, like home chickens. It can be an issue. When we had them before, we had a separate coop that was entirely apart from our house, and on that same property, you know, my dad still owns that property. We still have that coop, and there are chickens in that coop, but it's separate. So, you know, the chickens have their own area. You collect the eggs and you wash them, and it's not a problem. But the area here that I have would be next to my garden. So I have to kind of figure out how to maintain sanitation while having those. The other thing we've talked about, me and my friend, she has talked about getting rabbits because they repopulate so well. And I know it's an unpleasant topic, but they are a good food source. This is gonna sound a little alarmist, but I think anyone that is looking at the economy right now can use their critical thinking skills and evaluate that we're not headed in a good direction. You know, I've got my fingers crossed that what I see is wrong, and that the economy recovers quickly and well. And even if we see a time of hardship in America, that it is, you know, kind of buffered by our government. But I don't like to rely on our government. You know, they've done a decent job in the last several years of keeping, you know, the last several decades, I guess I could say, of keeping recessions from really devastating families on the level that we saw during the Great Depression. You know, that's my biggest concern. I know a lot of people, I don't want to sound insensitive to the people that lost their homes and the people, you know, during 2008. I know my dad lost his company during that recession. It was a hard time for a lot of people, and a lot of people suffered greatly, but mostly, unfortunately, through government programs, which I don't really like to promote that, but people were able to have a little bit of padding to fall back onto, so at least they didn't starve, you know. And I'm hoping that through community efforts, you know, that's what this push for me is for, is to grow more than my family needs, so that through local community efforts, we can keep people fed through this. You know, we can keep people housed through this. We can keep children healthy through this, you know. So again, feel free to call me crazy, but please, please do everything you can to keep your family safe through the storm that we're facing, you know, this war against COVID-19. And do your best to prepare for what comes after, because I am not seeing enough people talk about how we are going to handle what comes after. This is just the wait and see period. And I personally do not want to wait and see in front of a television. I want to take a deep breath, work with my hands, and create that safety net that the government keeps promising to provide. I, for one, am not going to wait for what the government can give me. I'm going to do what I can with my own two hands. So that's, you know, my little motivational speech right now. I hope it wasn't too dark. I hope it's motivating to you to do what you can for you and your family. And hopefully, you know, you'll fare this very well. And, you know, you'll only see a slight dip in your lifestyle. I think we could all give up a few luxuries and only feel it a little bit. You know, that's what I'm hoping, is we just reevaluate and cut off the excess, and, you know, spend our time focused more on each other and, you know, fruitful endeavors. And it ends up a huge blessing. So, but if not, we'll be prepared. That's my hope. That's my hope with all this, is if it does go sideways, I'm prepared. And if it doesn't, great. My neighborhood will have tons of fresh, organic produce. So day one vlog, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling motivated, and I'm feeling productive. Leave a comment down below on what your plans are today and how you're going to use your time to its most fruitful during this self-isolation, and how you're protecting you and your family. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day, guys.